In a recent encounter involving the Cleveland Heights Police Department, a female officer was observed recklessly pulling in front of another vehicle while conducting a traffic stop. The driver of the other vehicle, who narrowly avoided an accident, began recording the incident on his mobile phone.
1 second!
Hey, do you want to go back?
81 Rio, stand by. It's going to be on Bayfield across from the first access road. Send me another unit because another party does not know how to yield to lights and sirens, and he's sitting here recording me. Say that I'm looking at him off the road. You okay?
Yeah, I'm
okay. I'm Officer Lewis with Cleveland Heights. The reason I'm for the traffic stop is the plates on the vehicle are expired.
Yeah,
not even a big deal. Do you know that guy behind me in the Porsche?
I was trying to hurry up and move over.
You're good. No, you're good. You did the right thing. Put my lights out and sirens. He did not move over.
As the officer stepped out of her patrol vehicle, the officer expressed his concern over the near collision. The officer instructed the driver to wait while she proceeded with the traffic stop. However, the driver patiently parked behind the patrol vehicle and continued recording. The officer initially admitted her mistake and apologized to the driver, but during their conversation, she suddenly changed her stance, blaming the driver for her own errors.
Apologize.
You almost ran me off the road.
I initiated my lights and sirens.
I didn't hear anything.
What, was your music on? Because I had the lights and sirens on, sir.
You apologize.
I apologize.
You're wrong.
He stopped abruptly. Okay, I'm not wrong. The lights and sirens were activated.
You ran me off the road.
I did not do that, sir. The lights and sirens on my marked patrol because he stopped abruptly, causing me to stop abruptly, causing you to stop abruptly.
Right.
And I apologize for that. However, the lights and sirens were on. Okay, the police vehicle is marked. You can clearly see it's a marked patrol vehicle. I initiated lights and sirens. I'm not going to argue, and I'm telling you I do. I'm going to tell you I do apologize that he did stop abruptly.
I'm going to tell you the disconnect.
Nobody was wrong.
I'm going to tell you the disconnect, right? So between the public and you as a public servant,
does that driver check okay?
If it's something wrong and you actually did it, all you say, my bad, I'm sorry,
I did. I just said,
keep going.
I said my bad. I said, I initiated a traffic stop in a marked vehicle with lights and sirens. Right. If you didn't hear the sirens or see the lights, I
mean, you called back up to your place.
Well, I called back up because somebody is getting out of a cop car.
The situation escalated when the officer called for backup and her supervisor, a sergeant, arrived at the scene. The sergeant immediately confronted the driver, accusing him of obstructing and interfering with the traffic stop, despite not being present during the initial interaction. The sergeant failed to articulate if the driver was being detained or not, but he continued to escalate the situation.
You called backup for your safety, but...
Well, you don't pull up behind an officer on a traffic stop.
You don't even know what's going on.
You're right, I don't.
So why are you saying it?
Because I'm here, and what you're doing right now is against the law.
You ran me off the road.
Okay, well then you should have pulled over for lights and sirens. You said it on the radio that you didn't yield. And it's on dash cam, I'm assuming.
Just a disconnect, man.
Sir,
I'll tell you what, let her finish her business, and then we can sit down and talk like
we're
adults.
good. I'm going to let him go. We're good. I'm going to let him go.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was your last name?
My last name?
Yeah.
Why you need my last name?
Because I'm asking who I'm talking to. You asked me who you were talking to.
Well, now you're going to be under arrest, because what you're doing is going to be under arrest.
Listen.
What you're doing is illegal. I can charge you for interfering with the
Just give me your last name.
Why?
Because I'm conducting business with you right
I'm
now.
not being detained. Or am I free to
If you
go?
want to be.
10-4, that's not going to
how
be
it
the
works.
driver.
What's your RS?
Stand by.
What's your reasonable articulate suspicion of my crime?
I'm going to get rid of him.
Hold on, I'll explain it to you, okay?
Am I being detained?
Right now.
Am I being detained?
If you want to be.
10-4, that's
No,
not
that's not how it works. What's your RS?
Stand by.
My RS?
Reasonable articulate suspicion of my
Okay,
crime.
here, first, okay, hold on. I'll explain it to you, okay? Doing what you're doing right now.
No, sir, she almost ran me off the road.
Okay. Again, you didn't yield to lights and siren. You came out.
She was next to me and stopped and almost ran me off the road.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
Okay, listen to me. You asked my reasonable articulable suspicion. It's not a probable cause.
Arrest. If you arrest me, you violate my right.
I don't want to arrest you. We have to
You're
ID
going to
you.
violate my rights. That's what you're going to
Okay,
do?
we have to ID you. You understand that? Yes, we do.
All right, I'm going to videotape it.
Okay, we got you on camera
I'm
too.
going to call, then come get the car. You're violating my rights.
Come getting, who's getting what car?
They can come, you're going to arrest
Radio
me,
another
right?
car here. I got a male who's obstructing.
No, I'm not.
And he refuses to identify himself. So I'll take a report on it, but I need your ID. Yeah.
I'm dealing with her.
The driver explained what had transpired to the sergeant, but both officers insisted on obtaining his identification, even though no crime had been committed. The sergeant eventually handcuffed the driver, alleging obstruction and interference.
Listen,
Right.
I'm asking you to identify yourself so I can let my dispatcher know who I'm out with. If you don't identify yourself, that is obstruction. You are the one that came
Obstruction
out.
is a secondary crime. What crime did I commit?
There's no crime, but I'm identifying you. Okay. I need your driver license.
Look, man, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to arrest you if you don't identify yourself.
She just said it was no crime.
It is a crime. Obstructing is a crime.
Obstructing is a crime.
Identify yourself, boss.
She almost ran me off the road.
And then I still have to identify you.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, I'm going to call an incoming car. You can arrest me.
Okay, turn around. Put that back.
Because I didn't do anything.
Okay, turn around.
I didn't do anything.
Listen, just all you have to do.
I don't have my ID with me.
Okay, what's your
Your date of birth. That's not what we asked for.
For what?
Because I need to let my kid back or no one. It's not a big deal. Last name, sir.
Kern, man.
Kern?
You know what happened. Why are you letting him do this?
He's the sergeant.
He's violating my rights.
He is not. He
We're
didn't identify
give you a ticket when we
yourself.
send you on your way. You have valid driver's license?
Yeah, I do. You violate my rights, man.
Yeah, well, you're getting a ticket for interfering with the fast.
How did I interfere? She almost ran me off the road.
And you could have pulled off and waited and called.
I did wait when she said wait.
You were out here talking to her. Have a seat.
Mr. Kern, just
Don't push me, man.
Have a seat.
Why are you so full of machismo, man?
Dude, have a seat. I'm not putting up with your okay? Have a seat.
What's wrong with you, man?
Have a seat.
I'm sitting down.
All the way in.
if he
He's going
checks,
for obstructing. Or he's getting a ticket
you're gonna.
for
I
obstructing.
don't.
Is he valid?
I don't know. I'm waiting for the radio to say. What? So this is what happened.
Uh-huh.
That vehicle matched the description of the vehicle from yesterday.
Okay.
I saw it. I initiated a traffic stop.
Okay.
That person, instead of like pulling over, he stopped abruptly.
Okay.
And I'm getting behind him, but he stopped abruptly.
Okay.
This guy was very close to him.
Okay.
And we almost did get into an accident.
Okay.
Because that driver stopped
Did you
so
have your license
abruptly.
siren on?
I did, yes.
Get your ticket for there's always sounds part about this.
Okay.
He's getting a ticket for
Radio, you want to change it?
failing yield to an emergency vehicle?
Yes, radio, I do. That's why I provided
It
it.
was to a Demetrius Raphael Kern. It's a 37-year-old male. He's valid. That's one.
So he gets a ticket and then he can come to court.
Listen, I don't feel I need to give him a ticket for that.
Sure.
I'm
Well, then
cool
he
with
gets
just,
for obstructing.
okay. I mean, I'm cool with letting him go.
Like,
He just didn't understand.
He's in handcuffs.
And he's being a jerk.
He obstructed. He refused.
This was a baseless assumption, as the driver had simply waited on the side of the road until the officer finished her traffic stop. The driver provided his information to the officers, although he was not legally required to do so. The sergeant's behavior demonstrated an unjustified power trip, while the first officer seemed to acknowledge her mistake and attempted to rectify it.
You guys got a
Mr.
lawsuit
Kern,
coming.
just hang on. Just
You got a lawsuit coming.
Listen, let me explain to you. You don't get out of the car yet. The sergeant wants me to give you a ticket for obstruction, okay? I'm not going to do anything else.
I didn't.
Listen, he's the boss. He is the boss.
I don't have to refuse if I didn't commit a crime. This isn't a stop and ID state.
At this point, it is a traffic stop because you're out on a
almost ran me
traffic
off
stop.
the road.
Mr. Kern, we just had that conversation. I did not almost run you off the road.
That Tesla has cameras in it. So
Okay.
you guys are going to pay for this.
That's fine.
The court.
Mr. Kern, I apologize. I really do. And this is on body cam, alright? This is, the sergeant's telling me to do this, so listen, I'm just doing what I'm told to do, alright?
Afterwards, the driver was released from handcuffs, but the sergeant insisted on pursuing charges. The first officer apologized to the driver, stating she was just following orders. The driver expressed his intention to take legal action against both officers and the police department, citing violation of his rights.
Here's your property.
Hold on, let me get this hand.
Sure.
Hey, just put your one.
Some janky rutsy ass stuff.
Right.
You want to sign or are you going to refuse? Alright, I'm going to give you a copy of it.
You guys violated my rights. You know it.
Well, we'll all be in court.
Ultimately, the driver received a citation and a court date for obstruction. However, just 11 days later, the prosecutor filed a motion to dismiss the case due to a lack of evidence. The driver plans to proceed with a civil lawsuit against the officers and the department. In April 2023, Officer Scott Harrell, a 4-year veteran of the Texas City Police Department, allegedly initiated a traffic stop after observing a vehicle speeding and cutting through parking spaces at a gas station. Officer Harrell approached Christopher Scholl, the driver, and informed him about the alleged violations. Scholl denied any wrongdoing, stating that he was not speeding, that he regularly took the direct path through the parking lot to the gas pumps. Despite Scholl's compliance and explanation, Officer Harrell accused him of disregarding traffic control devices and threatened to issue a citation.
Before I'm stepping out of traffic,
Don't walk up to my car, please.
What?
Don't walk up to my car, please. Hey, man, you can't drive through a parking lot like that. You got your driver's license insurance? Any weapons in the car I need to worry about?
Oh, man.
Ford, did you catch my trap?
Yes, sir. Have you on traffic here, bud?
Robert John Lincoln, 4732. Robert John Lincoln, 472. Chief, copy 27.
Thanks.
1441 6588 1441 6588. Is there any particular reason why you felt you needed to come through the parking lot like that?
I didn't think I did anything wrong. I just came over to get gas.
You were speeding and you cut through parking spaces. No, you can't do that.
It's just going to be confirmed on Robert.
I didn't think I was doing anything, man. I'm just.
I mean, you
all
looked
I'm doing
around.
is coming to get gas.
Yeah. Oh, are we gonna go back and forth, or are you just gonna?
You asked me a question. You want me to answer it or not? I'm not.
Okay.
If anything, I thought I was going even slower than normal.
No, sir.
Because
You
normally people don't even park where you park, and that's the direct path to the gas pumps.
through the parking spaces. This is the
I
direct.
do realize that. I know that there's parking spaces there.
And you almost hit that car that was turning right there. I was watching, man.
The traffic stop was initiated on private property, and Texas law generally does not enforce traffic laws in parking lots, driveways, or alleys. Therefore, it can be argued that Mr. Scholl was unlawfully detained by Officer Harrell.
Hey, for
Go ahead.
I think so. Okay,
Thank you.
Meanwhile, the officer asked the man to show his license and checked it within his system if there was anything suspicious, but everything was clean.
So,
I'm not kidding you either, man. I come here every day, dude.
look, I'm not.
I send pictures of my wife the price of the gas here every
Right.
day when I come through.
Okay, look.
So anyway,
Here's the deal, man. Okay, I'm not gonna go back and forth and all that. I'm not gonna write you tickets, but the only reason I'm not writing you tickets is because I'm out of tickets right now. Okay, otherwise you would be receiving a citation.
for what? Would
Okay.
be the citation? I'm just curious.
Disregarding traffic control device.
On private property?
Yes.
Okay.
You still can't do that. It's still illegal.
Okay.
During the interaction, Officer Harrell demonstrated a power trip, unlawfully detaining Mr. Scholl and making false accusations against him. Despite Mr. Scholl's attempts to de-escalate the situation, Officer Harrell persisted in his aggressive behavior. Nevertheless, Officer Harrell continued to escalate the situation by accusing Scholl of reckless driving and threatening to arrest him. Eventually, Officer Harrell arrested Mr. Scholl, claiming he believed Scholl would continue to engage in unsafe behavior in the future.
I was sitting right there, and he came through the parking lot and cut through all the spaces. He came through so fast and whooped into here, and there was a white truck. The white truck had to slam on its brakes. So I come over here. I was just going to be like, hey, man, chill out. Like, chill out. Don't be like that. But you wanted to go back and forth and argue with me and give me all kinds of stuff. And, like, I didn't have any tickets, and I didn't grab a rider this morning. So I was like, man, look, it doesn't have to go this way. He kept going back and forth, so I was like, all right, let's go.
Another officer arrived at the scene, and Officer Harrell recounted the situation, portraying himself as the victim and Mr. Scholl as the aggressor. However, Officer Harrell realized his misconduct and decided to handle the situation differently. He cited Mr. Scholl for disregarding traffic control devices and allowed him to leave.
What motorcycle did you
Anything? Boy, Scholl's no longer in custody. Okay, I see you sign right here. It's not a Mr. Gill. Mr. Scholl is no longer in custody. It's not a Mr. Gill. It's just a promise to contact the court on or before the date and time that's written on here. You can contact the court at the bottom here. The information's there and also up there. Free to go, sir.
Following the incident, Officer Harrell was placed on administrative duty and is under investigation by the Internal Affairs Department. The Texas City Police Department has strict policies against violating individuals' rights during encounters. Chief Joe Stanton announced that the results of the investigation will be made public once a final disposition is reached. Mr. Scholl, who considers himself pro-police, viewed the traffic stop as unjustified and a violation of his rights. He plans to take the case to trial and is considering civil action against the department. He has set up a GoFundMe campaign to cover legal fees for the potential lawsuit. And now let's move to another video.
From protecting civilians from criminals to becoming the criminal, some cops have been caught cheating their own jobs. The public's confidence in law enforcement is damaged by these dirty cops, which makes it more difficult for good police officers to carry out their duties efficiently. So, what are the worst crimes cops have committed? Get ready to be shocked after finding out what these dirty cops have done. First, let's discuss the story of Rafael Antonio Perez. Rafael was given a job of protecting the public by lawfully dismantling gangs. Instead, he and numerous other officers from the Rampart division of the Los Angeles Police Department conned gang members out of drugs and cash, while also stealing and manipulating police evidence. When Perez joined the LAPD's Community Resources Against Street Hoodlums or Crash Anti-Gang Task Force, in 1995, he quickly developed a reputation as a tough cop who had a good understanding of the situations in the areas west of downtown Los Angeles that were within Rampart's jurisdiction. But by August 1998, he had been imprisoned for stealing cocaine worth $800,000 from an evidence room. And by the year 2000, he had entered into a plea agreement and accused 70 of his colleagues, crash officers, of misbehavior, ranging from ingesting alcohol while on the job to murder. The city was compelled to overturn 100 wrongful convictions and make $125 million in settlement payments as a result. So, how did Rafael Perez and his top gang fighting squad end up being held accountable for the largest police scandal in Los Angeles history? In response to a rise in the drug trade and associated gang violence, the LAPD established a specialist anti-gang task force called CRASH in 1979. The Rampart CRASH unit would represent the ideology of specialized police units that function almost independently. However, CRASH represented one front in a brutal conflict for police like Rafael Perez, who joined the task team in 1995. His reputation as a street-smart, tough cop eventually led to his transfer to Rampart Division's undercover drug team. Perez was given the duty of taking down the gangs, and both his demeanor and his ability to speak Spanish well complemented this role. Like many other young police officers, Perez experienced an adrenaline high when purchasing drugs from street vendors and reveled in his position of control. Perez thought he had discovered his niche and disregarded advice from a colleague that he loved working with drugs too much. He got involved in a lot of corrupt acts in the late 1990s, such as stealing cocaine from evidence lockers and profitably selling it. Additionally, he drugged suspects and lied in court to get them convicted. After Perez was caught stealing cocaine from the LAPD's evidence room in 1998, his activities were discovered. After being detained and accused of stealing drugs, he started working with the authorities right away in exchange for a lighter sentence. Due to Perez's assistance, a much wider LAPD police corruption scandal was uncovered. He disclosed that other crash unit officers had also engaged in criminal activity, such as fabricating evidence, robbing suspects of cash and drugs, and planting evidence. Intense pressure was placed on the LAPD as more police personnel were linked to the scam as the inquiry went on. The controversy prompted considerable adjustments to the department's rules and procedures, including the creation of new oversight structures to guarantee increased accountability and openness. It was one of the biggest police corruption scandals in American history and was dubbed the Rampart Scandal. Perez received a 5-year prison term for his involvement in the corruption case. He was nevertheless only imprisoned for 2 years before being freed and put in the witness protection program out of fear for his safety. Do you think Perez should have been let go after just 2 years? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Next, let's check out the criminal duo who were dubbed the Mafia Cops. Agents from the DEA and FBI conducted a raid on an Italian eatery off the Las Vegas Strip in 2005. On the basis of drug deal evidence acquired by a wired-up witness, they detained 2 middle-aged men. Both suspects were calmly taken into custody, one of whom had a pistol concealed in his waistband. Yet, the later unsealed indictment against the 2 men would undermine public trust in New York and bring shame on the country's largest police force. Detectives Louis Eppolito and Stephen Caracappa of the NYPD's Organized Crime Homicide Unit were, in fact, hitmen for the mafia. In 1994, the first informant who could characterize two corrupt NYPD detectives working for the mafia came forward. Prison Lucchese underboss Anthony Gaspipe Casso claimed responsibility for hiring their services. After being apprehended in 1993 after being on the run, Casso made an effort to negotiate a plea agreement by naming people and claimed that Caracappa and Eppolito were his crystal ball for handling informants, rivals, and potential arrests. One witness, Kaplan, testified to the most horrific instances of the mob cops crossing the line, setting up Eppolito and Caracappa to personally murder or give over for the Lucchese family's murder targets through phony arrests and traffic stop. The two detectives received a monthly salary of $4,000 for giving Casso information about law enforcement. They were paid extra for killing jobs, including $70,000 for a hit on Gambino crime family leader Eddie Lino, who was thought to have been responsible for a botched assassination attempt on Casso. In April 2006, a Brooklyn federal court jury determined that the duo was accountable for 8 homicides, kidnappings, and other crimes. Eppolito was found guilty on 1 count of ERIC, conspiracy money laundering, drug distribution, and drug conspiracy. Caracappa was found guilty on 1 count of RICO conspiracy. Caracappa, along with Louis Eppolito, were sentenced to life in prison in 2009 for the 8 executions they committed between 1986 and 1991. Caracappa got an additional 80-year prison sentence and was issued $4.25 million in fine. The next case will shock you more. It's about the most crooked cop in NYPD history. Officer Michael Dowd testified with striking candor before a panel looking into corruption in the New York Police Department in late September 1993. In his testimony to the Mullen Commission, Mr. Dowd described his decade-long transformation from an honorable rookie in the violent 75th Precinct in East New York, Brooklyn, to what one federal agent termed a once-in-a-generation corrupt cop. When crack cocaine first hit the streets in 1982, Michael Dowd joined the New York Police Department. He was in charge of East New York's 75th Precinct, which had the second highest murder rate in the city, with more than 100 homicides annually. But Mike Dowd soon realized how lucrative the drug trade was in comparison to his $600 weekly paycheck. He first only took money from crime scenes. Yet, when his behavior was left unchecked, he started robbing drug dealers and doing his own drug peddling. By 1986, he had begun working for cocaine trafficker Adam Diaz, who earned $1 million weekly. Dowd was paid generously by Diaz to inform him of impending raids and transport his drugs throughout the city. Diaz wanted an insider to alert him to potential threats since he used East New York supermarkets as fronts for his profitable cocaine activities. He paid Dowd $24,000 and $8,000 weekly pay to buy him out. So, whose story do you think was the most notorious? Let us know in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe.